Hello and welcome to revision tips for SIPS Level 5 Advanced Diploma in Procurement and Supply. This is Module 9, which is Operations Management. Learning Outcome 1, understand the concept and scope of operations management. We're going to look at the role and activities of operation management within organisations, assess the objectives and strategies of operations management, evaluate the process and the application of operations across a supply chain. But let's start with some definitions. So operations management is the process of managing the resources and processes involved in the acquisition of inputs, the transformation of those inputs, and the distribution of outputs. So it involves planning, organising, controlling and coordinating the process required to produce products and services. It defines the activities, responsibilities and decisions of operations managers. And its purpose is to ensure that the quality products and services are produced in the right quantity at the minimum cost and within the right time frame. It uses 5 performance objectives: quality, speed, dependability, flexibility and cost. So operation managers will oversee the operation management function. They guarantee that resources are used efficiently in order to create competitive advantage for the organisation and keep customers satisfied. They make strategic operations and control decisions, collaborating with other function areas to identify aspects in which the operation management function can make improvements and contribute to improved organisational performance. So you can see all of those functional areas on the screen. So clearly an operations manager will need a range of skills to make effective decisions and undertake their duties, and that will include leadership skills, data entry and processing, collaboration, budgeting skills, and so on. The 10 key activities that are undertaken by operation managers. Firstly, product or service selection and design. The selection and design of planning methods that can be used, such as intermittent project or batch processes, or line or continuous processes. Then the process selection and planning. These are decisions on where to locate facilities and planning the layout of the plant, including arranging and positioning resources and people within the facility. The facility location will be constantly reviewing those decisions regarding the location of services. The plant layout, arranging or repositioning resources and people within the production facility, apportioning tasks to the various resources. Production planning and control. The key activities of production planning and control process will be planning, routing, scheduling, dispatch, and follow-up. The quality control element will ensure that the desired product or service quality is attained and maintained. So quality management techniques such as total quality management, TQM, Six Sigma, or just in time are used to aid this. Materials management is managing the acquisition, storage, control, and use of materials to ensure that the required items are received on time to complete product or service production. And then capacity planning, determining the effective capacity of the operation process to ensure it can effectively handle the demand placed on it. Inventory management is the process of planning, organising, controlling and coordinating the inventory needs within an organisation with the goal of minimising inventory related costs. And maintenance and replacement is undertaking preventative, corrective, repair or maintenance tasks on equipment or machines. So in order to ensure that resources are allocated appropriately in operations, it's necessary to record, monitor and review the aspects of operational performance. A key task is this process in identifying appropriate measures of performance that relate to the internal and external factors that are relevant to your organisational competitiveness. Now, SLAP described these 5 operation performance objectives, which allow any organisation to measure its operations performance. The performance objectives are quality, speed, dependability, flexibility, and cost. Each one of these objectives will be applied differently according to the industry or sector they're being operated in. So you can see sort of three examples on the screen here. You've got the car plant, which, quality is about the spec, speed is about how quickly they can produce a new product, dependability is about being on time, flexible may look at different models, and the cost will be across sort of, staff, anything they purchase or technology, and that can range from sort of low to high. A hospital quality is about the appropriate treatment, again, time could be test results, dependability, not cancelling appointments, flexibility, offering different treatments. And then to the supermarket, quality is about products being in good condition. The time is, how long it takes us to refill the shelves. Dependability could be their opening hours, and flexibility, having different products to choose from. The Hayes and Wheelwright four-stage model summarises the contribution of operations functions from providing support to driving the strategy at a high level. So the four stages is firstly internal neutrality. This is where the operation function makes a minimal contribution to the overall corporate strategy, and other functional areas think it prevents the organisation from competing effectively. So the function takes on a reactive and inward looking approach, so only fixing machines when they break down, for example. Stage 2, external neutrality. This is where the operation function compares itself with similar external organisations to compare performance, benchmark and identify areas where improvements can be made. The operation function aims to be up to speed with comparable companies in the same industry by adopting and implementing best practice. Stage 3, internal supportive. The operation management function here will deliver the best capabilities to the organisation, and that implies that the overall competitive strategy of the company can benefit from its operations function. The function may not be performing better than competitors in all operation performance aspects, but generally it's doing well. And the last stage, stage 4, is externally supportive. Now the operation management function delivers a competitive advantage through its capabilities and performance. It's proactive rather than reactive, planning how best to act before the situation arises. And this contributes to competitive advantage. There are high levels of innovation, customization, and adaptation to ensure that the company is always ahead of their competitors. So here again, you can see the Slack model of the 5 performance objectives for operation management. So quality, producing products and services that satisfy the customer need. Speed, ensuring a short amount of time between when orders are made and when orders are fulfilled. Dependability, producing products that are reliable and consistent. Flexibility is about adapting to change in demand or marketplace changes. And cost is about producing products or services at minimal cost. Now, a strategy is a detailed course of action or plan that will be followed to realise goals and objectives. The 3 levels of strategy. Firstly, the corporate level. This is for the entire organisation, and these strategies provide the big picture of how the company will achieve what it desires in relation to markets, products, and competitive advantage. Moving on to the second level, the business level. This focuses on the direction a business unit will take to achieve its goals and objectives. And then thirdly, the functional level. This focuses on managing a function such as operations or production to ensure it contributes its best to its business. Corporate level strategies, functional level strategies, they've all got a different focus. But the functional strategy primary focus is on utilising staff efficiently within each functional area and integrating activities within that functional area. They align then to the corporate and business level strategies. So when you're developing a strategy for a function, you need to firstly understand that corporate level strategy. Set your objectives for your functional areas that address the quality, speed, dependability, flexibility, and cost. Then you define the structure and infrastructure strategies to realise those performance objectives. evaluating the strategy to determine how appropriate they are for the operation function and for the organisation as a whole based on their consistency and contribution to the competitive advantage. Draw up your implementation plan that defines the framework for implementing these strategies, the responsible parties, stakeholders, and required resources. Then you can implement the strategy. Finally, undertake an evaluation to establish whether the implemented strategy is achieving what it was intended for, and if not, designing and implementing improvement strategies. Now, as part of the balanced scorecard, one perspective refers to internal business process. Metrics based on these perspectives allow the managers to know how well their business is running and whether its products or services actually achieve the excellence, the mission. These metrics have to be carefully designed by those who know the process in detail. This demonstrates how the internal performance objectives can lead to an ability to compete. The competitive abilities may be order winners or order qualifiers. Each customer and market segment may have their own unique combination. So again, looking at those 5 performance areas on the left, you can see how it gives an ability to compete on things like, well, cost can compete on low price, quality can compete on high quality, speed gives you fast delivery, dependability, reliable delivery. And flexibility is a lot of things from new products, different volumes, different timings. But as I said before, the primary objective of operations management is to manage the inputs, process the inputs, and produce outputs. And those are the 3 aspects of operations process. So if we start on the left with input resources, these are needed to start the process of producing outputs. For example, flour, yeast, and sugar are transformed to make bread, a tangible product. A customer is transformed through diagnosis and care, which is an intangible service as an output. So the 2 categories of input, transform resources, are treated or alerted and altered during the production process. That can be materials, information, and customers. Operations may have a combination of the 3 inputs, but one is usually dominant. Transforming resources transform inputs and form the foundation of all operations. They're categorized into facilities and staff. And then the process. This means changing the inputs into outputs. So it includes mixing, reconditioning, teaching, transporting. And the output, this is the product or service produced for customers. Now, organizations produce goods and services or both. Accommodation is a hotel service, while the food is provided is a hotel good. So the main purpose of the product or service operation process is to meet and/or the internal external customer requirement. The satisfaction of either of these types of customers affect a business performance. This input transformation output production is known as the operations function, which is the concept of all operation management. So it therefore involves the planning, organisation, controlling and coordinating of the process required to produce the products and services. We need to define the activities, responsibilities and decisions of the operation managers with the overall purpose of ensuring the high quality products and services are produced in the right quantity, at the minimum cost and within the required time frame. So process with a high volume of output will have a high degree of repeatability. That means the same thing will happen over and over again. In contrast, low volume process with low repetition cannot specialise to the same degree. Employers are likely to perform a wide range of tasks, and whilst this may be more rewarding, it's less open to systemisation. So processes that produce a high variety of products and services must engage in a wide range of activities. So a high level of variety may also imply a relatively wide range of inputs to the process and the additional complexity of matching customer requirements to the appropriate product or service. So high variety processes are invariably more complex and costly than low variety. Now, processes are generally easier to manage when they only have to cope with predictability and constant demand. Resource can be geared to the level that is capable of meeting demand. All activities can be placed in advance and planned. By contrast, when demand is variable, resources will have to be adjusted over time. And visibility. The process visibility indicates how much of the process are expected to be directed by customers or how much the process is exposed to its customers. Generally, processes that act directly on customers, like a retail or a healthcare process, will have more of their activities visible to the customers than those that act on materials and information. So this is essentially the major implication of the operation management. It's known as the differences in the 4 V's: volume, variety, variation, and visibility. So examples: volume, how it's key to how business is organized. For examples, McDonald's, high volume, low cost; fast food, low volume. Variety is the flexibility in a service. So an example could be the difference between a taxi and a bus. One will give you the variety, the other one won't. Variation, customized products. For example, homes for sale with different types of rooms. And lastly, visibility. Customers are able to see, track, and experience or order through an operation process. A high visibility dimension will include courier companies where you can track your package online, or a retail store when you can pick the goods up when you purchase them over the counter. Low visibility could be a web design company who take your order and advise your new website will be ready in 4 to 8 weeks. And in fact, most manufacturing operations have very little visibility to the customer. So to provide the required product or service, or to transform inputs into outputs, several processes have to be undertaken. These include mixing, cooking, repairing, reconditioning, cutting, teaching, examining, advising, researching, transporting, and developing. So resource being purchased and delivered to the organisation. The production process being planned, scheduled, and implemented so the inputs are transformed into outputs. And the process of obtaining these inputs, transforming inputs, and distributing outputs need to be well managed to ensure efficiency, effectiveness, and economies. So operation management will differ according to sector. The goal of the operation function varies between organisations. For profit-making firms, operations are managed to ensure costs are minimised and value is delivered to customers. For not-for-profit organisation, the focus is on ensuring services are effectively delivered to customers. So operations have to be managed in all organisations in order to deliver products and services to your customers. There are different requirements for operation managers according to the different sectors. So we're looking at the manufacturing sector here. That comprises of all activities of obtaining the inputs to transform them into a quality finished product. This comes under 2 areas: production planning, which will include the methods used, whether to make or order, mass production or mass customization, site selection, facility layout, components and materials, including purchasing, inventory control, and work scheduling. And then you've got the production control, which will include scheduling, monitoring any activities to ensure they are being undertaken as planned. Quality control, making sure that your product meets the standards, the specification. Capacity planning and management, location decisions, and inventory. So the second one down is the service sector. Production planning considers what services will be offered and how they will be provided, what the facility will look like, and how demand will be forecasted. The retail sector focuses on ensuring operations are well managed to realise and maintain customer satisfaction, as well as minimise costs. And finally, the construction sector. Their operation focuses on cost minimisation, quality control, staff recruitment, selection, training, process, and the management of materials. And lastly, the public sector. And all of the above processes are activities that may be undertaken in all sectors. There are many reasons why companies go global in their operations. Growth, finding new untapped markets for the commodity and for the company's existing products. It could be efficiency, looking for economies of scale or economies of scope, or using lower cost resources. It may be for knowledge, getting skilled labour and talent in other countries, acquiring technologies. And competition, grasping first more average in the new markets. The trend towards globalization usually occurs at selected stages in the value chain. Either the company decides to enter a new market in the different country and start by opening a representative office or a distribution center, or it decides to produce its products and services internationally and sets up a purchasing unit closer to its new suppliers. Or it decides to outsource part of its production. But if the company is successful in its growth strategy, it will likely end up having to manage operations in a global market. So here are some examples of operation management in different supply chains. So we'll start with Walmart. Their operation management covers a variety of approaches that focus on managing the supply chain and inventory, as well as sales performance. The company's success is partly based on effective performance in operation management. The application of 10 decisions of operation management reflects managers' prioritization of business objectives. And in turn, this prioritization shows the significance of the business decisions of operation management in the Walmart business. So, for example, Walmart addresses process capacity and design through behavioral analysis, forecasting, and continuous monitoring. The behavioral analysis of customers and employees, such as in the store, serves a basis for Walmart's processes and capacity design of store processes and capacity, personnel, and equipment. And then let's look at General Motors. General Motors Company applies strategies that utilize available technologies to address the 10 strategic decision areas of operation management. In these 10 areas, operation managers identify issues that are linked to productivity and overall business performance. The strategic objective is to maximize operation management support for the achievement of General Motors business objectives in the automotive industry. So, for example, high efficient flow of resources and information is the objective of the area of layout design for General Motors operation management. The General Motors company addressed the objective through the integration of automation and carefully planned spaces. And that is the end of Learning Outcome 1. Thank you for watching.